This is Stu Strauss, the Woodsman, and you're listening to Inspirado Projecto.
Thank you so much, Stu Strauss from Twin Peaks. For those of you who have seen Twin Peaks Season 3, Stu Strauss plays the Woodsman whose face floats off into the sky while he's sitting there in the jail cell. I'm excited about this episode. We are going to be talking with Alexx Basile. She does merch for Yachtly Cruise. So the next time you go to a Yachtly Cruise show, say hello to Alexx. She will be right over there by the t-shirts, the hats, the stickers. And she also makes some really cool earrings, too. Take a close look at her earrings. Very well constructed. Alexx is going to teach us about something called train hopping. Others call it freight hopping. And it's just such a fascinating culture to me. So she's going to teach us about this. This interview takes place outside of Jam Cellars in Napa Valley. And Yachtly Crew had just played there that night, and Jam Cellars had like a little after party. So I thought this is a great time to talk to Alexx about this. There are still so many questions I still have yet to ask her, and that is for another episode. So buckle up. We also got a fun fact. Before we start that out, we got a fun fact from Henry D. Horse. Thank you, Henry D. Horse, for your fun facts. And also thank you in advance to Blythe Baines for closing out the show. Without further ado, I present to you Alexx Basile.
Here's a fun fact about hobos. Number one is arguably the most famous hobo in the United States. His given name is Leon Ray Livingston, and he was born in 1872, and he was a lifelong wanderer. He was riding the rails and stowing away on ships starting at the age of 11, and then he began to write about his journeys. That's another fun fact.
12:07 a.m. in the a.m. We just played the what's the name of that theater?
Uptown.
The Uptown Theater out here in Napa Valley, wine country, as they say. Jam Cellars owns the theater, right?
Yes.
So we're at this little after party here. I'm with Alexx, and I'm fascinated about the fact that she used to ride. I was watching a lot of these videos about freight hopping and the lives of these people and how they get into it and stuff like that. And little did I realize that actually, end up working alongside with Alexx. If you ever come out to a Yachtly Cruise show, you'll see her at the merch booth. And so I just want to know, what was the first thing that inspired you to actually take the courage and the bravery to hop on the train and to think you could actually go fast enough to actually make it in there?
So just a little small background of the people I met to go train hopping with. I was an addict. I was a heroin addict for a couple years. I'm currently almost 6 years clean in November.
Congratulations.
And this group of people I used to do a lot of drugs with, and they asked me one day, hey, we're about to take 2 weeks and we're gonna go train hopping to New Mexico. And I was like, oh, I've heard about it in folk punk songs and everything, because
what references were you privy to before you kind of came across these people who were into it?
So there was this one band, or it was kind of a group. It was a folk punk group. Oh, I can't remember, but one of their songs was about train hopping to New Mexico.
Really?
Yeah. And
whoa.
If I can find that song, I'll send it to you later so you can add it in.
Imagine how many people are inspired to do that.
They weren't that big. They were very small, but they played locally in Ventura one time, and I went to go see, and I've always wanted to do it. So my friends asked me, it was a group of 5, if I wanted to go for the first time. I was 15, and it was a group of 15-year-olds. Well, I was the only 15-year-old. There was a 17-year-old, a 26-year-old, two 23-year-olds, and then a 32-year-old.
Oh my gosh.
I think that's 5 in total. But they're like, yeah,
was
no,
the
we go.
32-year-old sort of a veteran in this? Had been doing
Yes,
this for 2 years?
he actually lives in his van. He travels around. So he parked his van out, and so we all packed in his van and drove up to California City, where some of the trains roll through. And they said, just pack a bag, pack enough to, travel for 2 weeks. Good luck on trying to shower and stuff. You only shower not train stations, truck stops if you can, if we pass by one. And we're going to go all the way to New Mexico, and we're going to go all the way back. I can't remember, it's this little town in New Mexico where one of the major train stations is. So we hopped on one of the trains from Cal City, and I didn't know what to expect. Everyone was like, okay, we got the van parked. It was like in this weird desert area, and I used to go off-roading in Cal City, but I've never been to this area before. And they're like, oh, look, there's a train, and this train's probably going like maybe 5 miles per hour. It was just kind of, putt-putting. And it wasn't at a station, so everyone's just like, okay, everyone got their bags, and I'm like rushing
just,
out.
Out in the open.
Yeah. And was like, okay, run. And I was like, what? Run. So we were all just running up to the train because it was definitely getting up in speed.
So someone just said, like, right at that moment, like, we're deciding on this, we're doing this.
Yeah.
Was it the older fella?
The older fella's like, I see this.
He was the leader of it, huh?
He was basically the ringleader of everything. So
wow.
Basically what we said was, okay, we're running. And he's like, okay, I see this one. I don't see any locks on it. Turns out there was a lock on it. Someone grabbed bolt cutters out of the bag, undid one of the major locks, and then we all just kind of jumped in, and it was just this empty cart. It was freezing because it was...
Oh my gosh.
It was still winter time in the beginning of the year. This was like around
my
15th birthday. And we
15.
This was like in March. So we just jumped in, and he's like, okay, this is going to be our camp for, a couple days until we find the next spot.
You got into a car is what you're saying?
Yep, we just ran. He unlocked the door, opened it up. We were still running right next to the train, and we just hopped in.
How did he know how to unlock the door?
Oh, he had bolt
through all
cutters.
those years, what was he doing? Like hanging on the side and like trying to open the door while he was hanging on?
Yep. And it was one of the really, really, really old wooden freight cars. It wasn't like the Union Pacific like metal ones. It was just an older.
One hand he's hanging on.
One hand.
On the other hand he's trying to cut the bolt.
It was the kind of step, and then there was a bar to kind of hold on. So he had one arm in the bar, so he had both of his hands free, and then just got the lock, cut it off,
like a movie.
And then shoved open the door so it was wide enough to jump in there. And first time I tried the jump, I fell straight on my face. I got up, had to run extra hard.
Dude.
And I don't like running at all.
Because it slowly is picking up speed.
Yeah. It was probably going about now 7 miles per hour, and I finally got up, jumped.
Dude.
I was only probably about like from my rib cage up, like on the train.
Dude,
so they had
way.
to like, someone grabbed the back of my belt and just dragged me in. So I was like, okay, that was like one of the most scary shits of my life, I swear.
So with something like that, everyone must be in this hyper,
Oh, it's an adrenaline rush because if you're not getting on that train, you're getting left behind, and you're going to have to sleep in the van for 2 weeks until someone comes back.
So it's helping you rely on instinct, I guess. It's kind of training that aspect, huh?
It was
like
pretty gnarly. So it was pretty gnarly,
because
and thank God no one.
Like a surfer at a wave.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because there's okay, we're going.
Yep. So then we did that. All of us kind of packed snacks, and this dude had like a little, what's it called? He kind of like had like an electronic stove cooker, and we just kind of made soup that night, just hung out. We all had our sleeping bags. It was freezing to death.
Oh my God.
Like me and my friend Michael, we ended up like splitting, we connected the two sleeping bags because I was freezing to death. I was like, someone needs to like hold me now. Mind you, I was one of the two chicks that were there. And so me and Michael just kind of like curled up next to each other, and it was still like my lips were almost blue in the morning because of how cold it was.
How many things did you pack? How big was your backpack?
I had one of those like big camping packs where like the sleeping bag kind of rolls up on the top.
Really?
I only packed 3 shirts, 3 pairs of pants, 4 things of underwear, 4 pairs of socks, and 2 bras. And
Snacks.
And I had a couple snacks, and I had a big water bottle jug that we had to, like, throw on there. So when we're running towards the train, we throw all our stuff in there first, and then we jump in. Because there's no way we're jumping in with our backpacks.
Yeah.
It makes it a lot easier, but I fell straight on my face when I first did it, so.
Dude. How heavy was your backpack, would you say?
Like 15 pounds. It's a pretty heavy backpack.
So, wow. I mean, that takes a lot of guts, and it takes having to actually trust everybody that you're running with, because it's got to be an all for one and one for all, as was demonstrated earlier in your story.
And
where,
I wasn't
you're
close,
on halfway, right?
And I wasn't close friends with these people. These were just people that, like, once in a blue moon, I would do drugs with. Because I met them all through my ex-boyfriend, who initially got me into drugs.
Oh. And
we used to go to, like, these houses. They're kind of just like drug houses where you just go hang out and smoke and do whatever. They're, like, abandoned. So I met through there, and then I just kind of, like, clicked with everyone.
Like opium dens, like you'd see in the old, like Sherlock
like
Holmes
they weren't
type of era.
Like, they weren't bad houses. Like, they weren't, like, barred up. They're just kind of just old paint, but, you know, the couches were, like, new, and, like, they had, like, beds in there, and no sheets on the beds, but, like, a couple pillows and stuff. Like, you'd feel relatively okay, and I stayed in there, like, a couple times because I was, like, you know, too drugged out to go back to my family, and so it wasn't that bad. It was actually pretty nice compared to, like, what you would see, like, on, like, Cops, like the show Cops, like, in Florida and stuff like that. It wasn't that bad, because it was actually the one I mostly went to was in Moore Park, but it was, like, in the back of Moore Park, like, kind of in, like, a field. It was weird.
The house is in a field?
Kind of in a field. Like, there's a neighborhood. No, it wasn't like a barn. It was like a neighborhood. To be honest, I could not remember what street it was on, but there was, like, a neighborhood, and then there was, like, a little bit of, like, a walkway, like, a very long driveway, and it was, like, this house. It was, like, a 2-story house. It said it was, like, sold, and it was, like, in escrow or whatever the hell, so the person that, like, owned it was going for relatively cheap, but, so
was
he
this
just
like
kind
a
of
known place that, like,
it wasn't,
people just knew this is where
you would see about, like, maybe 10 or 15 people just kind of, like, crashing there.
Did you
like,
ever recognize people that you had known, like, from around the neighborhood or anything?
Not at
whoa,
first.
That's surprising.
Not at first, because I lived in Thousand Oaks at the time. And I only really knew those people. Like, I wasn't really friends with them. I just kind of went there and did drugs until I went to rehab, and that's when I'm like, oh, I know who you are. So, but back to the train. So, you know, we'd get in there, we unpack all our stuff. You know, main guy is making soup for everybody, and he's actually really smart that he got these freeze-dried, dehydrated, that's what I'm trying to think, dehydrated soup packs. So they'd be really light, and all you have to do is just add some water.
Smart idea.
And you'd be fine. And I know a lot of hikers do it, so I'm guessing that's where he got the idea from. And then we just travel for a couple days, get off the train, go to, like, a truck stop until maybe another train came by, which usually would be that day, because the train wouldn't stop. We would literally just have to jump off of it, because there would either be a checkpoint where sometimes they check the cars and stuff, so we'd have to get off.
So
and
you
sometimes
kind of already know where the checkpoint was? Could you see it from far, you know, like, far enough in the distance?
Honestly, I never actually saw, like, the checkpoints or the stations, because we got off way before, because it is really, really, really illegal to stay in.
Right.
And honestly, like, I was high out of my mind the whole entire time. I did a lot of opiates, whether it was pills, I was doing a lot of heroin. It's just, I honestly don't remember much, but the small details that I can, I will, because I was basically just nodding off the whole time, or I was eating, or we would be going to the truck stops and taking a shower real quick, jumping on the next train that would come through. Sometimes it would take a couple minutes, sometimes it would take a couple hours. And one time we even had to wait 2 days for another train to pull through. And
so you just slept in the nature?
Basically, we would find, like, a cool area just to kind of, like, set up camp. And we were in, like, Arizona. This was, like, my third time going, And we were in Arizona where we had to wait the 2 days.
It was still cold out at this point?
No, this was in the summertime. So it was like, well, it was like transitioning from like spring to summer. So it wasn't like too burning hot in Arizona, but it was like hot enough to where like we can't fucking sleep in these sleeping bags.
So how'd you know how much money to take with you on one of these journeys? I mean, because I assume at the rest stop you probably have to buy more water or something.
Oh, we would take like maybe $30-$40 with us because we had enough food to travel, and the water, you know, like the water jug fillers at the truck stops are like a couple cents for like a gallon or so. So we do that, and you know, sometimes we buy snacks or cigarettes on the way. But you know, through all that, I'm surprised that we never ever got stopped by cops. No cops ever like bothered us or anything. The one time we did get bothered was this dude driving a truck, and he was like, this was when I was the only girl in the crew. I say crew, but it was just a group. And he's like, you're like my daughter's age. Like, are you okay? And, you know, I was like nodding off and everything. And he didn't even call or anything. I'm like, dude, I'm just like trying to discover my life and blah, 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 blah. Like, I don't know what I'm doing, to be honest. And he gave me like, he like kind of harassed the other dudes for a second, but at the end, he kind of just like gave me an envelope with, you know, $200, and he's like, please be safe. I wouldn't want to see my daughter like this, and please don't spend this on drugs. I know you can be a better person. And I still have that note somewhere in a lot of my stuff in my storage unit.
It's incredible.
And his name was Greg. He was probably one of the sweetest people I've ever met throughout the trip, because he was just being a protective dad. And, you know, if some reason Greg ever listened to like this story, I just want to let you know that I didn't spend a cent on drugs. I actually got a really good meal to myself that night. Well, I kind of like got KFC and like spanned it over a couple days and got like, you know, energy drinks and stuff to kind of like hydrate. But I kind of like, this dude's giving me money. I'm not going to be like a dick about it. I'm a very honest person, and I don't like, you know, I don't want him thinking, you know, I'm that shitty of a person, because I don't like looking like a shitty person to people. And I don't like acting shitty to people. So, Greg, if you ever hear this...
he said just the right thing to kind of plant a seed in your brain that just kind of grew through the years?
Yeah, honestly, because I hate being an asshole to, like, anybody. So, Greg, thank you for the KFC and the energy drinks.
And so is he the ringleader of the
No, Greg was the random trucker that came by and, like, made sure I was okay.
What? This is interesting. So this is interesting. This part of okay.
Yeah.
So okay, this dude was not part of the crew. He was a trucker that you came across.
He was a concerned father because he had like a 16-year-old daughter, and he saw me traveling with a bunch of older dudes. So he's like, gosh. Are you okay? You know, being concerned. And then he gave me that note and the money, and you know.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, someone cares about me that much, even though they don't even know my name. But I knew his name was Greg because he told me. I just didn't want to say my name. But yeah, because it's
what's so interesting is that like the universe will place the people in our lives, you know, and if our frequency is open enough to, we will notice it. We will see the sign. We will catch the omen. And the fact that he arrived at that moment in time, right at that time, right when you kind of needed it, and it helped kind of like get things in momentum, I feel.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people thought that we were like homeless train hoppers, which it wasn't the case. As I was explaining earlier, you know, we weren't the train hoppers that, you know, were homeless. We were just addicts that just went on a vacation, you know, 1 or 2 weeks, and our vacation was being reckless. We loved being reckless. And, you know, we weren't the hobo hoppers, as some people I've heard call them. You know, because here's a situation, you know, me and my group went into this one car, and there was this one dude. And he was definitely a hobo hopper. Like, he lives his life on the trains, on the tracks, you know?
Oh, my gosh.
He was definitely methed out. You could tell. Whoa. He was scratching at his face and everything.
Oh, boy.
And that was the guy who stabbed my friend in the ribs.
Oh, jeez.
Because we went into his car.
Oh, no.
And you don't go into another man's car.
You just woke him right up, and he, you know, because you don't know what you're going to find on the other side.
We instantly jumped out, ran back to the van, got this guy medical attention. And then we were like, well, we don't want to cancel our trip. You know, we're already, like, here. let's just continue. My friend ended up surviving.
Yeah, what did your friend do? Who got stabbed? Where did he go?
So he was 17. So they released him back into his parents' custody. And I didn't know this about this friend because I didn't really know him that well. He ran away from home like 2 years ago and lived his life on the streets.
Oh
and,
my gosh.
You know, he couch topped everywhere because he was always at someone's house staying over. So he wasn't like on the streets. But, you know, a couple nights, sometimes you have to sleep under a bridge.
Oh my gosh.
And, you know, they ended up getting him back into his parents, and he got the care that he needed. He got sent away to, like, this, you know, summer camp where they, like, basically trap the kids and stuff, so, and, like, make him do all it was this camp in Utah where it's, like, a send-away or whatever it was
like
called.
A Mormon camp?
It wasn't Mormons. It was not a religious camp. They just kind of kept people there. Like I've heard horror stories of like send away camps.
What is that?
A send away camp, it's like where you send your if your kid is like, you know, disobedient and shit and
like
you just can't deal with it anymore.
Military school or something?
Think military school, but like a summer camp where you don't get contact with your parents for like the first 6 weeks, and sometimes they can get really abusive over there.
Oh geez.
I had a friend of a friend. She was on, oh God, it was that one talk show. God, the Cash Me Outside girl was on it, and she also got sent away to one of those camps.
Oh boy.
It wasn't Murray. It was the dude with the mustache, Dr. Phil. He sends like the bad kids to camps after his show, sometimes.
Boy.
So my friend's friend went on his show. And I don't know her name. It was my friend Trinity. It was her friend that went on the show. And I didn't even see the episode. I just know that she got sent away to one of those camps. And when she came back, she was the quietest person in the world. I mean, this girl used to, like, go smoke weed, you know, go party, did all the Xanax and stuff. And she came back.
No.
She looked awful.
Oh, no.
So that's why, like I would never...
They brainwashed her, huh?
Oh, they'll get, like... pretty gruesome. Like the girl that I was talking about,
Orange type stuff.
The girl that I was talking about, the Cash Me Outside girl, Bad Baby, her name is. She went to one of those send away camps after Dr. Phil, and she has horror stories, and you know she wants an apology and everything. And you know these camps would get sued, and one person at her camp ended up killing himself. And you know you can see like the list of send away camps, and a lot of kids have died there. So
sounds villainous.
It is. Man, we got way off topic.
But it's crazy to think that these things exist, and the fact that those things exist, and imagine what kind of effect that has on the brains
of these kids. What the worst part is that they'll make the kids lie to the parents and say like, yeah, I'm okay. You know, or they would get shoved into like this cabin with like no sunlight or anything. They would give them food every once in a while and maybe let them out. But, you know, there's a lot of horror stories on the internet.
They're treating them like creatures.
It's to make them obedient, because these are like, you know, shithead kids that just don't like to listen to their parents, or you know, some of them get arrested or anything.
Because decades down the line, right? Suddenly
it just fills them with a whole bunch of trauma. You know, it's just like your parents couldn't, you know, take care of you, so they just, you know, gave you up. And when you're at one of those camps, you know, you don't own them anymore. The camps do. It's kind of like how mental institutes, when you know, go on a 3-day hold, the state owns you. It's kind of like that. I don't know what the legality of it is, but, like, you're basically owned by them. Their parents gave up their right to this kid to go to this camp. And, you know, if you want to send a letter home, they have to proofread through everything so you're not saying shit, you know.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm not saying every send-away camp is like that, but majority of the stories that I've heard, I don't think I've heard of a good story come out of any of those camps.
And so were some of these folks the train hoppers?
It was just my one friend that went.
Oh, he was caught. Okay, so
when he got stabbed in the ribs, he went to the hospital. His parents got him in, got him healthy, and sent him away.
Oh my god.
I never saw him again.
Oh my god.
I never saw him again. I honestly don't even think he's alive. Because
if he is, what's his name?
His name...
Even just his first name. Wouldn't it be interesting if
it's
this
like,
somehow made its way to him?
It's funny because I didn't even know his full name we just called him Rooster. Because every morning he would kind of like go through withdrawals and he'd kind of like make this weird like rooster noise. So we always called him Rooster.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
That just kind of sparked in me. Like, I didn't realize that I never knew his actual name. Like, I probably have heard it like a couple times. I was just too high to remember.
Did a lot, I'm getting this feeling that maybe as a result of this, maybe there might be a commonality of creating aliases. Mm-hmm. Like, did you have a different name when you were out there?
No, people just call me Alexx. Or I would be called Dos Equis because I have 2 X's in my name. So, you know, or people would just say Dos. But I was mainly called Alexx. It's just when I wasn't paying attention or nodding off, then they would scream out like, Dos Equis, Dos, are you okay? Like, wake up, you're fine, etc. Just like if someone is like trying to get my attention kind of thing. Because I never really paid attention. I was always nodding off. Like I've said, like a lot of the memories that I have of the hopping, I can't tell you what we did on the cart other than drugs and eat. Sometimes if we were even able to eat. The reason why we had soups was because it was like the only thing we would get down. If it was like
really?
Well, yeah, when you're like, you know.
Is it very stressful? Or is that what you're implying? Or what do you mean?
Oh, no. When you're high off your ass, you can't eat. When you're on opiates, you cannot eat. Because we were all doing heroin.
So in a very strange way, it was almost good that you, well, didn't have to try to find ways to eat, I guess. If you weren't,
I was very, very malnourished. I was very skinny. All of us are. You can look at like any heroin addict.
Were you able to drink water at least?
So that was the one. So we had a set of rules. One rule was not go on the top of the trains, you know, because we weren't going to be that fucking stupid. We weren't going to try and fall off. 2, you got to force yourself to drink water no matter how sick you get. If you throw up, guess what? Now you got to drink all that back in. Not the throw up, obviously, but like you got to drink the same amount in because you need to keep yourself hydrated to survive through this. And like, even though we were high out of our minds, we still stayed sober we weren't getting too high. Sure, I don't have any memories, but I also blocked a lot of it out because a lot of it was trauma. Because, you know, it's not the best thing in the world, you know. But yeah, that was like another rule was you gotta drink the water. Like there was only a couple rules, you know. Don't separate, you know. And don't hop on a cart with someone else in it already. Hence why my friend got stabbed. So if you see someone in that cart, don't bother jumping in. Granted, the one time we did and my friend got stabbed, we didn't even see the guy. He was covered in blankets. We just thought it was kind of like a mountain of blankets.
Oh, God.
Yeah, so that was like a total...
and he fell off the train, huh?
Huh? My friend?
So, your buddy got stabbed and he fell off the train, huh?
Yeah. Well, no, he didn't. He was still on it. We just kind of like... So the train was going pretty fast, so we kind of just threw him off, and then we all jumped off at the same time.
Oh, my God.
Because we didn't want to be a part of that, because the dude, like I said, the dude that stabbed him was met the fuck out. Like, it was pretty gnarly.
Oh, my gosh.
And, you know, if you see people, you know, doing parkour when they jump and go to like a lower ground, they usually do a roll. That's usually what we have to do. I sucked at that. I literally just decided to bust out, like my knees were in so much pain. Hence why my knees are actually pretty bad. Also from my accident.
So instead of like doing a drop roll kind of thing, you just
I kind of just fell. I just fell because it's pretty high up. But I just decided to fall.
So where would you just jump out in open fields, or were they cornfields, or what were?
So when my friend got stabbed, it was still in Cal City, so we just kind of jumped on dirt. It was hard. It sucked. You know, rock went in my back. It wasn't fun.
A rock went in your back?
Well, it wasn't like terrible, but it just hurt. I had a pretty gnarly bruise.
Oh, what's going on?
We're heading out.
We're heading out?
As are we. Yep. Everybody's heading out.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Make like a baby.
Are we going the same direction or what?
I'm following them because they're going to the van.
Oh, that's right. They got a different thing. Okay, so tell me more about this. So how many times did you encounter somebody who was already in a train car?
Twice. So
oh my gosh.
One of the other times, he wasn't like crazy, but he's like, "Get the fuck out! This is my train." So we just hopped off and went into a different cart. And that wasn't.
That was that was the guy who stabbed your friend, right?
No. This was just another time.
Oh, this is the second one. What did that guy look like? Do you remember?
Old.
Was it light in there? Was it dark in there?
So it was light, but he was just old. Had a really long beard.
Oh my
He just
God.
didn't want to be fucked with.
Oh my God.
So
Interesting
so
characters.
we're like, you know what? We're not gonna go against him. We're just gonna be respectful, and we just hop in another cart.
Did you try to swing to the other car? Like, because I imagine there could be a space between the cars, and you go zoop, zoop, to kind of move you forward a little bit faster.
No, we only hop in the openings because we don't want to risk falling.
That's a good plan.
So, and it's hard.
Oh shit! Watch out! Oh boy! Holy cow! That dog almost just ran right across. Thank God that person stopped when they did. Oh my God, that was terrifying. Yeah. So, okay, so you just jump right off the train as soon as you see this person.
Yeah, and we hop off. And then we just find another cart to find. Gosh. Because it was hard finding the carts that were available to hop in. And I would have been hopping a lot more times, but sometimes there just wasn't a cart to find. And Cal City was only like a 2.5 hour or 3 hour drive from us, so it wasn't that much of a big deal if we couldn't find one.
Oh. So, what was the longest you had to wait around for another train to come along?
So if we didn't hop on initially, then, and if we were still like in the same place we were originally starting at, and if there wasn't one in the next hour, we just go home. We're like, you know what, we're not fucking waiting. We'll just do this again another time. Oh. Because sometimes my friend, ringleader.
Wouldn't you have to go? I mean, what if you're out there and you're halfway to New Mexico or whatever?
Oh, then we would have to wait.
Right.
We wouldn't,
Did you have a time frame? Okay, we're going to do this in 2 weeks, or how did you?
Usually the trips would be 2 or 3 weeks.
Did the ringleader know the train schedule, or how did that work?
Kind of, but kind of not really. I don't know really how he did everything, to be completely honest.
So he just must have been that advanced in his studies of this kind of nature.
Yep, basically.
Oh my gosh. So, oh my gosh. So, did anybody ever bring music instruments?
Oh yeah,
really, what kinds?
Guitars, just guitars.
Oh my God! So people would be running along with the guitar or ukulele.
One person brought a ukulele. It was pretty cool.
Whoa, that's
One
great.
person brought a slide flute. That was
oh my God,
nice.
I love it.
And you know what? Surprisingly, no one brought a what's that little rectangle instrument?
Oh,
I'm blanking out.
Kazoo?
Yes, kazoo. Surprisingly, no one brought a fucking kazoo. I was so surprised.
Yeah, because that's the most portable music instrument you can use. And in some cases, very potent.
But it's okay.
Oh, you could have gone to the station.
No, I think I might take the leg room instead.
Oh, that's right, my jacket's over there.
Thank you for the drive, Tommy Bowie. I really do appreciate it.
Oh, wait. Oh, yeah, here, let me take this out of your way, okay? Oh, you're going to sit in the corner? Well, who's going to sit here? All right, hold on a second. Let me take this with me into the middle. I'm going to sit in the middle. Oh, wait, whose stuff is this? Oh, wait. Oh, geez. Okay. Oh, wait, you were sitting in this corner, but I'll sit here, but you can still sit in the corner. I see what's going on. All right, hold on. Let me put this back here. All right, there we go. Let me scoot this back. There's something over here. Give me some room.
Well, where's how the founders get back?
Since there's just kind of loud in here right now, can I continue this later?
Yeah.
I want to hear more from you later.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you. This is Alexx, aka Dos Equis, live on Inspirado Projecto.
Here's another fun fact about train hopping. Why do people hop trains? The adrenaline rush associated with riding the rails is often cited by seasoned train hoppers as their drug of choice. With a sense of invincibility, they see it as playing a game with the train. And that's your fun fact.
This is Blythe Baines, and you're listening to Inspirado Projecto.